going on YouTube? This is for my musician friends out there. I'm doing a quick review of the Pearl Free Floater aluminum snare drum. It's a 8 by 14 snare, and also going to go over the Tama HS80low Road Pro snare, and just do a quick review on some of the issues I ran into with the snare, which are good issues. Just one minor thing, and then talk about the new snare stand. Anyways, I'm gonna go turn it around and start talking about it. So, this is the Pearl 8 by 14 aluminum snare, free floater. Ordered it on Amazon, believe it or not. Came straight from, they got a Pearl warehouse out in Pennsylvania. I actually got a good price on Amazon compared to some other online stores, so that's why I went that route. It's very clean, very nice. It's a lot lighter than I expected. It's not. I thought it was gonna be a lot heavier, but it really wasn't, which I was super surprised. But super nice. I took off the factory Remo head that it came with, and I put on the Evans HD Dry, which it's my preferred snare head that I like to use, and it's awesome. If you haven't tried it, I recommend it. Super thick, durable, has these cool little vents around the side, but I like the sound that it produces. Some of the features I saw in person compared to online that I wasn't sure about is that it has a really nice throw off. It's really solid. I was skeptical about the this has this little plastic C-clamp that helps keep it in place, but it's pretty heavy duty. And then it's attached right in there to the side of the bottom frame of the free floater snare. This I think they just call it a casting, which is, like I said, this is a new snare to me. I've had my old snare for like 6 years, so it was weird to go to a new snare. The other part of the strainer holder right here, super heavy duty. Comes with 42 snare shine wires, which for me was a big plus because I'm a fan of the wider snares. I know not everybody is. For my style, for me, the music and the band that I'm in, it works. I had to play around with these to adjust them the way I wanted them, but it got a nice lined up the way I wanted. Snare cord's actually super heavy duty too, and it's very solid. I didn't think it was going to be good, but it actually was, so I'm glad that worked out. I kept the same Rezo head on it because it was good. I usually normally put the Evans 300 Hazies on it, but I thought this one was fine. So here's a look inside the shell, the inside of the metal casting. The shell itself, I took it apart. I didn't feel like doing it for the video, but it pops right out, which is crazy. There's actually like a felt lining that sticks out that it sits on the shell, and the shell is squared off at the back, or the bottom of the shell, sorry. And you see inside, the shell is flanged down, has a good edge on it. The shell's super lightweight. What attracted me about this, even though it was an imported snare, Pearl is really known for a lot of the snares that they make, and obviously the drums in itself, but more specifically a lot of snares they get a good compliments on for a lot of studios and musicians out there. And what attracted me about the shell, this one specifically, I like metal snares. I don't like steel. I like brass, but I never tried aluminum. So this was nice and has a really nice, dry, fat, crisp sound that I like. And the shell is spun. It's not welded at all. The entire shell is completely spun. For some of you that might not know, some drum shells are rolled out, made in a flat piece of metal. They roll it, weld it, sand it, and all that good stuff. This one is just a natural spun aluminum. So that's super cool. The one thing I didn't like about it, well, I like that it's a big snare, but one thing I didn't like, I had to buy a new special snare stand, which we'll go over that. Oh, and real quick, I know everyone's kind of tripped out that it has no natural portholes in it. What they didn't show online that I was able to find once I ordered it, there are portholes underneath the snares, they kind of hide them. A tiny little porthole there underneath the snare strainers, and then another one right there. So there are portholes that are actually built into the casting, not the shell itself. Reason for that is they want the shell to resonate as much as possible, but yes, there are 2 little tiny portholes at the bottom. Now, because the shell is so tall, or so deep I should say, my floor tom from my kit, because I rock a 4-piece kit, that's my dog Sam in the back, so this is a 16 by 14 floor that I have on my current kit. I just ordered a new SJC kit that should be coming pretty soon, so I'm stoked on that. I'll do a video on that when it comes out. But because the snare is so tall, I bought this awesome Tama HS80low snare stand. I did reviews on it. I never saw a solid review on this snare stand, so I just wanted to do a quick one. It has a nice gearless tilter on it. The basket's super low, has a good bass, really nice solid rubber feet. What's cool about the basket is that you can adjust it at almost any angle you want. I'm not gonna mess with it right now because I got it set to where I like. The one thing that is weird, the basket, it doesn't sit normally like some other snares. It's kind of like at a weird angle, but I think why they did that is because right here, the basket, if it was all the way turned straight, the bottom of the snare basket, the gears right here would get in the way of the wing nut. So I'm pretty sure that's why they did that. But it was fine. So this is the only bad part about the snare. I love how deep it is, and I sit a little bit lower than some drummers, and I had to buy a new snare stand. That was the only bad part about this whole ordeal. I had to buy a new snare stand. I almost went with a Pearl low stand, but the tilter on those stands, it's like weird. It's like sideways like that, and I didn't really like that because I look at the counterweight of the snare where it sits back, and keeping this lined up with the bass, for me, I think it'll help keep it in place better when I play. I mean, but it's one of those things. It's all preference. So I'm gonna set this down real fast. Put this on. All right. So here's a view of the snare on a stand. This thing's super beefy. It's crazy. And then the way I play, I angle my small rack tom, but I like to keep my floor and my snare flat, and I keep it at the same height. So I went and adjusted that to kind of give you a different look that other reviews don't. So that's with the Tama Road Pro HS80low stand and a Pearl 8 by 14 free floating aluminum snare. This right here is a Crush Sublime Series 16 by 14 inch floor. So give you an idea of the depth ratio when you compare the two side by side. But normal snare baskets sit a lot higher, so my other snare, I have a DW 9000 series snare stand, which is super awesome, super heavy duty, but it doesn't accommodate, even at the lowest setting, this snare still stood about an inch above my floor tom, with the basket set all the way tight. So what I did was I had to put the basket all the way down, and it was still about half an inch too high, and I didn't like that. So that's why I bought this snare stand. Yeah, anyways, I highly recommend this. If you get the snare a setup like this, worked out great for me. Hi, Sam. Come on, get in the way. Shh, watch out. I'm almost done. She wants attention right now, of course. But yeah, anyways, the Pearl free floating 8 by 14 inch snare with that Tama HS80low snare stand. Hope you give it a try and check it out, and yeah, take care.